Life is a game of the subconscious mind. Everything in your life that you're experiencing right now is because of how you've programmed your subconscious mind. So, one of the best things you can ever do for yourself or for your business is to learn how to program your subconscious mind properly.
Hello everyone and welcome to the CxO Real Talk. I'm Mary, your host for today, and today we have a very special guest, a business coach and entrepreneur. We have Jeevan.
Hi, good to be here.
Alright, so Jeevan is the CEO and founder of Leveragelab and is also on Malaysia's top growing coach currently. He has landed himself on Prestige Magazine's Top 40 Under 40 and has won several awards. So thank you very much, Jeevan. We are so honored to have you here.
Good to be here.
And as much as I know you, I'm a fan of yours as well. There are people from our audience who may not know who you are. So could you please briefly introduce yourself to them?
Well, I run a business coaching company and I've been doing this now for 24 years. And in the last 24 years, I've had a few 100,000 people going through my programs, and I've made companies and people millions. So lots of fun. It's been a lot of fun and a lot of hard work, sweat, tears, a whole lot of stuff, good stuff all the time.
That's really nice. So Jeevan, you are amazing at public speaking. And we're all wondering, was this skill something you had naturally innate that then only you nurture it?
Oh, no. In fact, I was a very shy kid in school. So when I was in school, primary school, secondary school, I was pretty much a shy kid. And when I became a business coach, I realized I had to do a lot of public speaking, and I was terrified. And I was thinking, how on earth am I going to do this? So what I did was I told myself, if I can't, I must. So I have it like a mantra in my head. If I can't, I must. So I went and spoke at any opportunity. Wherever I could speak, I would speak. I went to Rotary, I gave a lot of talks at Rotary. I even emceed 3 weddings. I even did that. It scared the daylights out of me, but I did it. And what was miraculous was, initially I'd be afraid the entire talk. Then I was only afraid for the first 1 minute, and then the first 30 seconds, and then the first 10 seconds, and then it's gone. And so that was quite fascinating. It took some time. I just kept doing so many talks all the time until it didn't matter anymore. And of course, my core business is actually the one-to-one coaching. So that helped a lot tremendously as well. And over time, the nervousness just disappeared.
So now, like for instance, if someone asks you to go up and give a speech, do you still feel nervous? Do you get that
Not
jittery?
anymore. No.
Oh, that's
I
good.
can just go up and just speak on anything.
So you are somewhat of an introvert lah, technically.
Well, I think I still am. So the classification of an introvert and extrovert, there are lots. It's not how noisy you are really, but actually how you recharge. So introverts tend to recharge. They prefer to recharge with 1 or 2 people or alone. I like to recharge with a book, with a good book, or with 1 or 2 friends. Extroverts prefer a whole group, a big group, and go out with a whole big gang and stuff like that. So it really depends, how you recharge. I think that's a good clue. Because people often look at it in terms of how noisy you are. Which I can be noisy, and it doesn't really, when I finish this interview, I'd like to go home and read a book.
Ground yourself back. All right, who do you take examples from? Where is your inspiration come from?
A lot. So one of the guys that changed my life was a gentleman by the name of Jay Abraham. Jay Abraham, world's #1 business guru. This guy he is still absolutely brilliant. I learned so much from Jay. Tons and tons of information from Jay, all kinds of things. Another person I learned a lot from, one of my mentors, is a guy named Brad Sugars, and he's someone I learned so much about coaching from as well. So these 2 guys have learned a ton of information, and along the way, so many other mentors, Tony Robbins and everybody else that everybody just came along, and I kept learning tons of stuff. And these were some of the early starters: Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Jay Abraham, Brad Sugars, Ken Blanchard, all these guys. Early guys, so these were really good.
The OGs there. Right. And you've had so many clients. We're just out of curiosity, which age group within your clients is the most challenging for you to work with?
The most challenging is not so much an age group. I've got people from their early 20s right up to in the 70s even. So it's not so much the age group, but it's the type of business. For example, startups. Startups are actually a little bit more of a challenge to work with compared to other businesses because number 1, they haven't done anything. So they haven't done a lot. So number 2, they can tend to be very argumentative because they haven't tried anything really, and they don't even know if it's going to work. And 3, many startups are very conservative as well. And lastly, of course, funding is a very big issue. So startups can be a little bit challenging. However, if the mindset of the owners is big and they're aggressive and they want to go for it, then it's very easy. But if they're conservative and argumentative and things like that, it becomes very difficult to coach. I've never met ever seen a business that I couldn't turn around, but I've met a lot of business people I can't turn around. So there you
more
go.
of the mindset rather
It's a
than
person,
the age.
yeah. It's a person, never the
Understand.
business.
Okay, that's a good insight there. And now, looking at your journey into being a business coach, how did you actually learn the knowledge that you had today?
Oh, I purchased a franchise many years ago, and I ran the franchise for I think something like 15 years or so. I ran the franchise, an Australian franchise. So I purchased that, and then I ran it, and then I let it go after some time, and I continued doing on my own and all kinds of things. So it's been a long time, 24 years now.
I see. And when you first started your journey into coaching businesses, did you had a mentor guiding you?
No one specific mentor, but I would work with people who are very good at businesses. I would just learn from them. I would sit with them, learn. Whoever was really good, whoever I knew that was very, very good at business, I would spend time with them. I'd make the effort to spend time with them, and in a way you could say they were mentoring me as well. Lots of courses. I did a whole lot of courses, read a lot of books. In 2004 I began reading a book a week. I still do. I still read a book a week since then. So that's helped tremendously, the knowledge and everything. So I think it's a combination of a lot of factors, but essentially it's always learning from people who've gone before.
I see. And the people that you learned before, I'm assuming they are successful people, right?
Of course. I mean, you learn so much from successful people. You can also learn quite a bit from failures, from those who failed, because you can learn what not to do. So you learn what to do from the successful people, but you can also learn what not to do from the failures, and that also teaches you quite a bit. So my experience is quite vast. I've gone to all kinds of industries. I've coached all kinds of companies. So as much as I'm coaching them and giving them a huge amount of success, I'm also learning from them, and vice versa. It's never just one direction. It's always two sides.
I see. So those people that you went for mentored and they're so-called mentored you, when you approach them, because now people, they have a misconception where like, oh, if you're successful, you probably wouldn't want to help others, or you're being stuck up and all. But in your experience, how was their reaction like when you asked for help?
Invest in them, spend time. It really depends, and of course if you're going to see someone every week, then it's better you just work with a coach and pay for that. If it's just once in a while, invest that time, invest money with them, do things. There's no free lunch, and everyone wants it on the cheap or on the free, and that's actually quite tough because nobody wants to just give their time away like that. So invest, be prepared to spend money with these people.
I see.
So whether it's in the form of workshops, seminars, or sometimes I would just pay someone for their time and say, look, I just want to buy 4 hours of your time, and I'll sit down and pick their brains and get everything out. That 4 hours is worth thousands of hours, but that 4 hours, and because you've paid, they'll tell you everything. So that's a really good hack. You go and buy 4 hours of someone's time and squeeze everything you want out of it. So I would take out some very top coaches and spend time and money on them, and I would learn.
I see. And most of your talks currently is very motivation driven.
Yes and no. A lot of what I do is business strategy. So I do a lot of strategy, and the 4 major areas are sales, marketing, systems, and team. So along the way, there's some motivation thrown in as well, but motivation by itself wouldn't help anyone. You need structure, you need systems, you need methodologies, you need a framework on how to do something. So you've got to go beyond just the motivation, because you can get someone really fired up, but they're not going to do anything if there's no proper system for it. For example, I teach people, like recently you guys went through this program where we looked at habit mastery. So how to come up with 10 very powerful habits and then launch them and master these habits in 100 days. But I have a whole tool for that. I have an entire tool, and it's a 100-day tool, so that you can master your habits in 100 days by working on that tool. So you see, so it's got to be a whole combination of frameworks, tools, methodologies, strategies. It can't just be you trying to really rev up this person. That's never going to work.
But for them to follow the structure, they need some kind of
the motivation is always there. I think it's always nice. It's like running. It's nice if you're motivated, but if you got to run, whether you're motivated or not.
I see.
So when you run a business, when you own a business, it's never about how you feel. It's always about what you got to do. If I've got to do telemarketing, let's say I've got to do 20 calls a day, then I've got to do 20 calls a day whether I feel like it or not.
That's true.
So the champions are the ones who do things because they have to do it. It's their duty to do it, not because they feel like it. That's very important. I mean, if you look at Michael Phelps, he trains 6 hours a day, Monday to Sunday. I'm pretty sure he doesn't feel like it all the time. He's been doing it for 6 years. So there you go.
All right, and well, some people may not be entrepreneurial driven. They might not be very strong on their sense of career wise. And talking about motivation again, going back to it for a bit, I would say one of the opposites is definitely depression. So in your expertise, if you have a client who is going through their business and all, but they are not driven, they're just in a depressive state, they're not really depression, there's no diagnosis for it, what would you do?
Okay, so let's look at this from a different place. So for starters, let's not waste time on that. So there's depression or they're feeling depressed or whatever, misery. So first you try to understand what business is about. All of business, whether you run a manufacturing company, a listed company, or a dog food business, or a cafe, or an accounting firm, all of business comes down to only two things. Just two things. That's it. Whatever business on the planet is just two things. And the two things is capture and keep customers. That's it. Everything you do in business is to capture customers and do all kinds of things to capture customers, and then do all kinds of things to keep them coming back again and again and again. So in corporate language, we call it customer acquisition and customer retention. So if someone's all depressed, it's because they probably either can't capture customers or they can't keep their customers coming back. So what I would do is start that process. I would look at all of the strategies that they have to capture customers. How do you get your leads? How do you convert your leads into customers? Look at everything there, and we work on all kinds of processes for that. And I also look at everything that they have in place to get their current customers to come back, from increasing the range of products to communication channels and all of this. So once we start work there, they start getting excited again. And the customers come in, the money comes in, everything comes in. How to be depressed? It's quite hard. So you see? So
Understand?
usually a person's depressed because they're not doing anything. But yes, the clinical depression is a different thing. But normal general depression is because they're not really doing the things that gives them success. If a person needs to run to lose weight and they're eating cheesecakes all day, they're going to be depressed. So they've got to get out there, put on their shoes, get into the rain, run, that sort of thing. So with business, it gets a lot simpler, not easier, simpler. It's just capture and keep customers. Everything is about that. Once you get your head around that, it starts getting clearer. Then okay, for example, why am I doing advertising on social media? To capture and keep customers. Why am I hiring a new staff? To capture and keep customers. Why am I purchasing these new products? To capture and keep customers. You see, there you go. And you can test this out. If you look at this, when's the last time your dentist called you? Let me guess, never. When's the last time your tailor called you? Never. So you see, they got you as a client, but they can't keep you. The only reason you go back is pure luck, or maybe you like them.
Need it, yeah.
You need, but the minute somebody else comes along and takes care of you, you're gone.
Yeah.
So that's the whole essence of business. And so in my coaching, that's what I do. I work with clients on doing that. And there's a whole bunch of systems, processes behind it, but that's it. That's the essence. It could be any business. It doesn't really matter. And every business has essentially 4 parts to it: marketing, sales, systems, team. So these are the 4 parts of a business. So if you have a problem in business, it's in one of these 4. So if you have a money problem, it's usually a marketing and sales problem. If you have a time problem, you're so busy, no time for anything, it's a systems problem. And if you have issues with all kinds of people, it's a team problem. So any problem in business is one of these 4 areas.
I see.
So that's how I break it down, and then I start coaching my clients in this direction.
That's a very good, at least break into the smaller parts where you can target them.
Right.
Now, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Everybody wants to run a business. But one of the issues is that they don't put the action into it. Would you say people are just demotivated, or are they just lazy?
I think the first thing is, don't just start a business because you think you have a good idea. Start the business where you can get customers fast. That's the kind. You see, for instance, let's say you bake cheesecakes and you're really excited about cheesecakes because of your grandmother's recipe. That doesn't necessarily mean everyone's going to eat it. So you got to see, is there a market for cheesecakes? Are people already on the lookout for it? And can you create such a market if there isn't a market? Can you do it in such a fashion that maybe it's a boba cheese or something like that? Who knows,
yeah.
But the thing is, you whatever business a person starts, I tell them, don't be so caught up in your passion. People keep looking for something they're passionate about. That's really nonsense. Instead, be passionate about what you find. What you already find, be passionate about that. Be passionate about marketing. Be passionate about sales. Be passionate about customer retention. Be passionate about these kind of things. And you'll be passionate about the business automatically.
Wow, that's really powerful words. That's some strong words right there. Okay, and one more thing about your practices, which I noticed and I really, really love about it, is that some practices you mentioned, I would call them as manifesting. And what, in your opinion, is one of the most powerful manifesting technique, or a way you would say that's quite
Okay,
good?
so the first thing you need to understand in life is a game of the subconscious mind. Everything in your life that you're experiencing right now is because of how you've programmed your subconscious mind. So one of the best things you can ever do for yourself or for your business is to learn how to program your subconscious mind properly. So when you do that, then you will manifest all kinds of amazing things in your life, because everything you're doing, for example, why do you eat a certain noodle? Because subconsciously you like it. So you go and eat it. Everything is subconscious mind. Why do you date certain kinds of guys? Because subconsciously you've been programmed by yourself to like these kinds of guys. So you see, so it's all subconscious. So how do you? So what I did was, about, I think it was 15 years ago or so, I invented a formula. So I invented a formula to teach people how to program their subconscious mind. And I started teaching this formula, and people started getting stunning results. And so, I've become famous, very famous, for making people millions. And I've won all kinds of awards for it, global and local. But here's the formula. It's so simple, and anyone can do this. So I created this formula, and I've been teaching it now for, I think it's 15 years or so, or even more. And here's the formula. It's SSF, Singapore, Singapore, France, which stands for say it, see it, feel it. That's it. So whatever goals you want in your life, every day, 2 times a day, you say the goals out loud. You say it out loud in present tense or past tense. Like, say, for example, you want to buy a black Mercedes C-Class. You say, I own a black Mercedes C-Class. You say it out loud, and then as you say it, you close your eyes and you see it. You see yourself driving it. You let your subconscious mind experience the car. The subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between real and fake. It doesn't know. It just knows what you feel and experience. So you see it in your mind. As you see it, you feel it. You feel the leather, feel the driving, feel everything, and then open your eyes. And then you do this 2 times a day, every day. And you write your goals down 2 times a day, every day. And before you know it, you get it all.
Is that how you got your Porsche?
That's how I got my 911 actually. I did exactly that. So I wanted a black 911 Targa. Targa is a convertible 911. So I wanted a black 911 4S Targa. And what I would do every day is I would see it in my mind. I would say it, I'd say, I drive a black 911 Targa, and then I would close my eyes, I would see it, I'd see myself driving my mom, driving my friends, and going up gun things and all that stuff, and then I would feel it, I would feel the speed and everything, and within 2 months or so, bang, I got the car. Wow. It's that fast. So it can happen for anything, and honestly I would just tell people, just test it out. Just test it out. Say it, see it, feel it. That's it.
That's really...
SSF.
2
times a day. 2 times a day.
So is there any books that changed your life in this field?
Oh, so many. So I can actually recommend quite a few. Let me give you a bunch of books that are totally life-changing, so powerful, really good stuff. And I think it'll benefit just about everybody out there, whether you're in business or not. The first one is The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. Such a classic, brilliant book. Everybody's got to read that one, Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. You can get it in all of the MPH bookshops and all. You can get it everywhere. The second book, and I think everyone knows about this author and this book, but not everyone's read it, is Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. This is such a good book. I first read this book, I think it was in 1997 or something. It changed my life. Everything changed. From that point on, I was really into this. I said, wow, there's a method for me to become better at everything. So that book, brilliant. Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. And then a book on sales, also a very good book by Brian Tracy called The Psychology of Selling. Such a good book by Brian Tracy, Psychology of Selling. These 3 books, absolutely brilliant. There's another book by Brian Tracy also called Maximum Achievement. Very old book, one of his first. Also very, very good book. Absolutely brilliant book. So I would say start with these 4 books, and you as a person will change completely. And apply everything you learn. And from there, you'll just keep going on to better things.
You know, it's funny because when you said the first book, Power of the Subconscious Mind, I'm actually reading it currently.
Oh, you're reading now? Wow.
And I've been gatekeeping that book.
So cool,
so
isn't
I will
it?
hide it in my Instagram story and all.
It's
really
such a
crazy.
good book. Such a good book.
It's been changing my life so far.
Yes, it will. Because very few people actually talk about how the subconscious mind works. So, and of course, the best book you could ever read would be my book, which will come out later in the year. We can do another show.
Yeah, we can do that.
Later in the year, my book will be out. So that's going to be a totally fascinating book on being an entrepreneur. So that's be a completely life-changing book as well. I'll put in a lot of stuff on the subconscious mind, but yeah, very few people really talk about it. So Murphy talks about it a lot.
Absolutely love the book, yes. Now, one question, and last one as well. How can we get people to begin with this? Because, you know, there are people out there who just do not read, they do not get themselves closer to knowledge.
Yeah, I think
How would you do it?
it's really simple. 3 pages a day. That's it. Because you see, the key here is get momentum. Everyone tries to win the world at the beginning. No, you got to just get some momentum. Just get momentum first. 3 pages, anyone can do it. If you tell them to read a book a month, it's going to be a lot. Even half an hour a day can be a lot, but just 3 pages. You just go through 3 pages a day, and before you know it, you're doing a chapter a day or something like that. But a good book, one of the books I recommended, start with a really engaging book like what I've recommended, and then just 3 pages a day. Start with that. If you do more, better. But before you know, because I read 3 to 4 half an hours a day.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's about 2 hours a day, and that allows me to finish a book a week. And I think if you read a half an hour a day, you'll finish a book a month. So it's actually not difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I started doing your the 100 days habit. I start with 10 pages a day. I think I'm already on my day 5.
Well, there you go.
pages.
It's a lot already. Yeah.
It's quite impressive for someone who doesn't read
Yeah,
consistently.
There you go.
So yeah, alright. Thank you so much, Jeevan. That was actually really, really good. We have certainly a lot to dissect
Lot to
and
think
unpack
about.
here. And yeah, we really appreciate you joining us and being
Pleasure.
a guest on our show, sharing the
Pleasure.
insights and the knowledge.
Pleasure.
And thank you to our listeners as well for tuning in. We hope you had a few takeaway points here. Be sure to subscribe to iCare Global's YouTube channel, and you can listen to this Spotify on YouTube and also Spotify podcasts. We'll see you in the next CxO. Till then, take care.